Hey everyone, this is Sean Smith, and I just want to do a short training video with what I believe to be the absolute most important piece and concept for you to grow your speaking, coaching, and training business. And it's not what a lot of people are really focused on. You know, it's easy to get focused on the doing part, the marketing part. You know, what do I do? What do I say? What do I sell? But that's not the most foundational concept, in my opinion, because I've been to tons of events, I've gotten training, I've gotten certifications, I've met so many people who've done a lot of the doing training, and what I'll tell you is that most of them are still not creating the business, creating the lifestyle, creating the abundance that they want, and it's because they're missing the piece that I'm going to be talking about in this video. And even if you get all the marketing skills, it actually is worse. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but when you understand how to market, you understand how to do, sell, and say, but you don't have this piece, all of those things are useless. So the piece that we're talking about is certainty. Certainty, and the definition of certainty is really a strong conviction that something is true. And here you are as the coach, right? And basically what you're going to be doing is telling people, I can help you. But if you're telling people I can help you, and there's any uncertainty in your voice, it's going to be really challenging for, number one, for them to, believe you. But number two, for them to take action, for them to hire you, for them to come to your seminar. You've got to have a lot of certainty in this phrase right here. And it's going to show up in you're going to say it in different ways and so forth. But you've got to have confidence. I mean, you've got to have this rock solid energy about you that is so clear and so certain that what you're saying is true that it becomes magnetic to other people. They want to pay attention, they want to listen, and they want to follow, and they do want you to help them. Now, here's the thing. As I thought about this today, I thought, we can break this down, and there's really three pieces inside of this phrase that you have to be certain on, and it's these three S's right here. The first one is I. And so you've got to be certain in yourself. If you don't have certainty in yourself that you are somebody who can lead, that you are a coach, that you are somebody that can deliver some sort of message and give some sort of advice and just basically, help somebody along the way. If you don't have that certainty in yourself, people are not going to follow. Nobody wants to follow perceived weakness. So you've got to have that certainty in yourself. The second piece is right here, can help. And so for you to have certainty that you can help somebody make a positive change in their life, you've got to have certainty in your skills. Because if you don't have certainty that you actually can help somebody, then when you step up, when you do a video, when you get on stage, when you stand in front of somebody at a networking event or wherever, and you basically say, listen, I can help you do this, that weakness, that doubt inside of you is going to come out in your energy, it's going to come out in your voice, and all it's going to do is really increase their doubts, right? So you've got to have certainty that your skills are able to help somebody. And then the last one is you. And what I mean by that is you've got to have certainty in your seeker. Now, your seeker is somebody who is desperately seeking the knowledge that you have. A lot of times in this industry, we focus on what we want to sell or what it is that, we feel comfortable delivering from our perspective, from our view of the world. But in business, you've got to be really clear on who that person is that you're here to serve. And I'm going to break down each one of these in a second, but this is really the foundation of confidence in your marketing. And if your marketing doesn't have confidence underneath it, then the marketing becomes useless. And actually, it's a negative, because if you market a lot, but you don't have certainty and confidence at the core in your energy, in your language, in your body language, in your tonality, everything, then marketing uncertainties is not a good thing, right? Marketing your doubt is basically what you're going to be doing. So I'm going to break down each one of these three things. And basically what I'm sharing with you are conceptual pieces that I've learned over the course of the last 7 to 8 years with me, but also teaching a lot of my coaching clients who are coaches, some of the shifts that you can make just by thinking a little bit differently. So these are, relatively high-level concepts, but I know they're going to help if you really start to own this stuff. So number one, when it comes to yourself, when it comes to having confidence in who you are and self-esteem as a leader and as a coach, I want you to remember that you do not have to be, the world's biggest expert. And you do not have to have all the answers. What you're here to do is to simply guide people. And there's a big difference at a conceptual level, the connotation between a guide and a teacher. And you don't have to be this guru that knows all the answers. You just have to be able to take somebody by the hand and help them along and just guide them along. And so that hopefully takes a lot of pressure off of you. If the coaching industry required you to have all the answers before you started helping people, there would be no coaches, right? So you don't have to have your life completely figured out. You don't have to have arrived. You don't have to be without any problems. You just have to be able to guide others. The second piece here along these lines is that you've got to be just simply one step ahead. One step ahead. So can you turn around and help somebody that is basically, an earlier version of you? Can you step around or turn around and help somebody who wants to know how you've done something? And if you're one step ahead of them, and you can say, listen, this is what I learned along the way, and this is what I would suggest you do, or this is where you can, focus your energy, or these are the questions you can ask yourself. If you're just simply one step ahead of them, you can help. One of my favorite concepts in the coaching world is, to a third grader, a fourth grader is a god. So you don't have to have your PhD in whatever it is that you are passionate about teaching. If you're in fourth grade, you can help the kindergartners, you can help the first graders, second graders, and third graders. You can help anybody that's a couple steps behind you. And that was huge for me to realize that I don't have to have collected all this knowledge and, like I said, get this doctorate degree before I can turn around and help other people. A third piece here is you've just simply got to show up to serve. This is a big deal because when you focus on marketing and when you focus on sales and when you focus on closing or, doing flyers, almost all of the marketing stuff feels like, well, it is to a large extent. It's promotion, right? And when you start promoting yourself, I'll tell you, every single doubt that you've ever had that's ever been stored away in your body will come up because now you're on stage. Now the spotlight's on you, and now you're basically telling somebody, like on that last chart, on that last page, I can help you. And so that's going to bring all of the uncertainty up if it's down in there, right? But if you just show up to serve and you're here to help, most of your fears and most of your doubts will just completely go away because nobody has any limiting fears or doubts around helping others. All of their limiting fears and doubts and conflicts are from their own perspective. It's who am I? Can I do this? Can I succeed? But nobody has a fear of helping other people, especially the ones that are just simply one step behind you. So if you really truly show up to serve in everything that you do, that energy is going to be magnetic and attractive. People will feel it. Your heart will come across, and you can sell and promote and market more authentically because you're just really, truly showing up as yourself to serve. So this is a big, big concept. The best coaching trait you can have is simple curiosity. Now, there are skills that are important to being a coach and being a speaker, seminar leader, trainer, and so forth. But when it comes to really, truly helping others, the best thing you can be is just curious. If you have the curiosity of a child, I always say 3-year-olds are the best coaches on the planet because they're ferociously curious and they just ask questions. And the best coaches are not the ones with all the answers. The best coaches are the ones simply with the better questions. So stay curious and you'll be a fantastic coach. Here's one that has really affected me over the years. And, honestly, I probably didn't have this aha until, I don't know, maybe within the last year. Because what I was doing is I was constantly comparing myself to Jack Canfield or Brennan Burchard or Max Simon or Suzanne Evans or all these different coaches that I know about. And I was constantly comparing myself to them. And what I realized is that in doing that, all I was creating for myself was a bunch of doubt. And so don't compare yourself to the other people out there. I mean, don't compare yourself to anybody really, but if you want to compare yourself to somebody else, you compare yourself to the person who's a couple feet behind you, a couple steps behind you. Can you help them? But don't compare yourself to other people, especially when you're brand new, because these people have been in the game for years and years and years, and all it's going to do is make you feel smaller, all right? And the last one here, this is an ongoing process. One of the things that I think is critical in the coaching industry, if you want to be a really good coach, is that you've got to be clear. You've got to clear your mirror so that people can relate to you, so you can be authentic, so you can be transparent, so you can be present with other people. If you have all kinds of stuff going on inside, if you have all kinds of limiting beliefs and fears, now you're not ever going to be able to get rid of all of those, but the clearer you can be, the more you can help other people. So this game is about clearing your mirror and continually growing. What I see is that a lot of people cross a certain line, they think they're done, and then they go around and they try to help other people, but they're not constantly evolving. You've got to evolve with the times, with the economy, with the society, with technology. You've got to keep evolving for yourself anyway in this, journey called life. But especially as a coach, you've got to consistently, constantly evolve. And your clients, your seekers, your listeners, your viewers really respect when they see you grow, when they see you continuing to attend events and teach them new stuff and use your life as some sort of analogy, right? So this is self, and this isn't any kind of sequential order. I'm not saying this is the very first piece, because all three of these have to be there. But certainty in yourself is incredibly important from a leadership perspective, because that's what we are. We're leaders if we're going to help somebody else improve their life. Now, the second piece is skill set. You've got to have a lot of certainty that you have the ability to help somebody. And from a coaching perspective, one of the most important concepts is that you are listening to understand. You're not listening to fix. A lot of people hear a problem and they immediately try to fix it. But the most important thing to do first is simply understand, get curious, like I was saying with the 3-year-olds, right? Listen to understand and don't just jump in. You've got to create rapport in this coaching game. And one of the ways to do that is simply to understand what the issue is on the table, right? Now, this is also gigantic, and it probably took me a couple years to understand how powerful this was. You absolutely must have a framework to work within, meaning a framework for your coaching skills that you have confidence in taking somebody through, but also for the client, because if you don't have a framework, then you really can't illuminate the path that you're asking them to walk with you. And so if somebody says, I want help in my life, and you say, okay, I can help you, but they ask you how, and you're like, well, I don't know, we're just going to take a few steps. It's going to just create more uncertainty and more doubts inside of them. But if you can say, well, I've got this framework, and step number 1 is we're going to do this, or phase number 1, and then phase number 2 is this, and then phase number 3 is this. If you can just illuminate the path for them, so you just kind of imagine this car traveling on a dark highway. If you can just show them what's in the headlights, they will be a lot more confident to take that action step with you, to jump in your car, so to speak, and help and let you help them, because they can see it a little bit. It's going to be very difficult for you to ask people to follow you on a dark road. So this illuminates the path for the client, and that's critical. Another piece here is, and this is, I don't know, like every single one of these that I say, I want to say, this is the most important piece. I mean, they're all critical. But this is huge. If you want to have the most amount of influence with people, if you want to be the best coach you can possibly be, you must get certified in belief change. If you cannot help somebody change their beliefs, all you can do is tell them what to do. But in life, people's knowledge is not what holds them back. It's their beliefs. It's their inner conflicts. It's the guilt that they have. It's the fears that they have. And those are all related to internal beliefs at a deeper level. And if you cannot help them change those beliefs, then your ability to affect their life is severely handicapped because all you can do is just give them new information. But it's not new information that's going to change anybody's lives. It's the change in what they believe about themselves, about the world, about success in general. So if you really truly want to be a transformational force, you've got to be able to help people change their belief system. And then finally, this is nothing new, but I just want to reiterate it. You've got to practice, 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 practice. And if you don't practice and continue sharpening your skill set, then your skills are going to get stale. People are not going to feel any sort of newness and freshness with you. You're not going to continue to evolve and so forth. And coaching is an art. It's not a science. It's an art. And this art gets better and better as you continue to practice. So that's the second piece. That's the second piece, or the second S rather, of certainty. And the third one is my favorite and the most important, besides the other two, is your seeker. And I already said that your seeker is the person who's really seeking the knowledge that you have. And having clarity on this particular single person is the most important piece of your marketing especially. And you want people to really believe that you're talking to them, right? If they think that you're talking to them, they're going to be more attracted to what you have to say, and they're going to pay attention a little bit more. And here's the deal. This is probably the single biggest or single most important marketing concept, is that people buy when they know that you understand them. A lot of times in marketing, people are trying to get the prospect to understand who they are. But instead of you understanding me, I need you to understand that I understand you. And that's a whole different shift to where now all of the focus is on the other person. And it's not on you. It's not on how great your skills are. It's not on what you've done in the past. It's not on impressing people. It's about understanding people. And that makes them feel safe. There's a connection. There's rapport built. And if they believe that you understand them, especially if they believe that you understand them more than they understand themselves, then they have to turn to you for the answers because they haven't been able to find it on their own. But if they know that you understand the things that they're going through, especially if you understand the belief game, which is what I explained on the last paper, they're going to feel so much safer in hiring you as a coach or coming to your seminars. The second thing here is when you have clarity on your seeker, your language will be so much more magnetic and much more marketable. One of the bigger mistakes that people are making is trying to speak to a bunch of people at once, and because they don't have clarity in their language, their message is vague and their message isn't really attractive. And because it's not attractive, it's not going to be very marketable. If you're just trying to teach success in general from this big umbrella, chunked up level, a lot of people are not going to be interested in that. But if you are wanting to teach single moms how to balance a career and family life at the same time, that's a marketable, magnetic, very clear language. And this is a piece that a lot of people resist, but I'm telling you from a marketing standpoint, it is so critical that you identify and speak to a single person, which is your seeker. The third thing here is that you want to sell what they want to learn. But what most people do is they sell what they want to teach, meaning the coach will sell what the coach wants to teach instead of what the seeker wants to learn. And people buy what they want, not what they need. So when you get clear on who this person is, you engage them in conversation, you ask them what they want to learn, and then you serve them. Marketing is so much easier. This whole game of business is so much easier. So don't market from your own ego and your own perspective. Market from theirs. And I'm going to wrap all of this up to say that your most valuable asset is your seeker's perspective. When you really truly understand the model of the world that your seeker has, when you understand their fears, when you understand their desires, when you understand what they've tried before that didn't work, what would they write a blank check for? If you knew what your seeker would write a blank check for and you just showed up and served them with that knowledge, then this whole game of marketing and selling and coaching and putting people in your, in your seminars, everything becomes, I'd say, at least 10 times easier. So what I want you to do is gain the certainty in these three areas: yourself, your skills, and your seeker. And from that place, now we can start talking about marketing. Now we can start talking about websites and creating a community and social media and all of this stuff. But if you learn that stuff without certainty, it's actually more dangerous. And here's why. If you don't have the certainty inside, and you've got doubts and you've got those fears, well, the more marketing that you do, the more exposure you have, the more spotlight you have. That's not a good thing with uncertainty. More exposure is not good for your doubts. So the more marketing that you learn is actually going to cause you to have more conflicts inside if you don't have certainty on these three pieces. And the other thing is, when you have confidence and certainty in who you are, what you can do, and who you're here to help, it's in your body. I mean, it's like this physiological confidence that you have, and you are so much more deeply rooted in your message and in your journey and in your path and in your desire and conviction to help other people, that it's going to be so much harder for anybody to knock you off your journey, for you to quit. But when you don't have that confidence, you don't have that certainty, and you come up against roadblocks and overwhelm and all these challenges, it's going to be easier for you to fall off that path because you're not rooted in that certainty. So in all of my years, and I wouldn't have said this until maybe about 6 months ago, in all of my years, I believe that this is the single most important piece. Without this, all of the other dressing just doesn't really help all that much, and actually, it's more dangerous that way. So hopefully this has been a good conceptual piece for you to get more certainty and confidence in yourself. The skill set is something, I don't know where you are in your skill set. Later on, I will be offering some coaching certifications. So if that's going to speak to you, then awesome. We'd love to have you. I'll tell you more about that. And then also your seeker, get clarity on who it is that you want to help. And all of these things wrapped together. Now we've got something that we can take to the market, something that we can do some videos with, something that we can put up on a website and actually be a lot more attractive, get your business going, create the time freedom, the financial freedom, but more importantly, the significance of you helping those people that you're put on this planet to help. So hopefully this has been beneficial. I'll come to you real soon with a coaching framework. In the next video, I'm going to talk about a coaching framework that will help you with the skills piece that I mentioned earlier. I know it's going to be really valuable to you. I can't wait to hear your comments, your feedback, and I'll come to you with that real soon. Take care, everybody.